YouTubers, Fortune Cookie 45LC coming to you from the Hot Lead Zone, and this video is a follow-up on that last order from USA Brass Company. Well, first of all, the 20mm Cannon brass is a tremendous hit. I've given away 4 of them to shooting buddies already, and the smiles were ear to ear. Now, one of these costs $350, but it's really heavy in the head, and when I did some research on it, these are percussion primed, so this was probably fired in an Oerlikon 20mm cannon, probably somewhere around World War II. So who knows, these could have come off the decks of the USS Enterprise. Now the way we know that is because the 20mm cannon is still used today, but it's rotating cannon. It's the M61 rotating cannon, and that uses electric priming. So since these are not electric primed, this is probably World War II 20mm cannon brass. So once again, note the primer indentations, and one of the receivers made a comment that, look, no head stamps. They couldn't bother with that during wartime. But completely clean and polished. These are shiny mementos of a time long past. So YouTubers, a review on the 20mm cannon brass is 100%. So much so that I contacted USA Brass and asked them if they can get some 40mm brass of the same quality, the same shininess. Because if this is a big hit, then a 40mm brass would even be a bigger. Before we get into the review of the 308 fully processed brass, there was an incident recently where the FBI and EPA went in and raided USA Brass Company over some problems with workers getting lead exposure. So they've had to change their operations a little bit, probably some fines, this kind of thing, but they're still fully in business, and business is alive and well. USA Brass Company is issuing these warning slips now on lead exposure to everybody as a result of what happened. But one of the commenters brought that out, and actually I saw that before, but it really isn't relevant to us as purchasers, except that we need to watch our own lead protocols all the time. Now to review the 308 fully processed brass by USA Brass Company, and that is, this brass has been cleaned and polished, and it's been resized, and it's been deprimed and trimmed. It's military brass, and the pricing is very good. We're talking about $30 for 100, and that price is what some places charge for brass that's not cleaned, not anything, just off the ground. So this is good, and it's military. What it is Lake City Brass 2005 head stamps, so it's very current manufacture. Well, it turns out I got an email from USA Brass the other day that wanted me to send this batch of 308 brass back to them because I accidentally got sent out a batch that was not fully processed. There were some problems with the neck tension, so I went ahead and opened up that bag of cases and took out about 20 at random and ran those through my Ruger Scout rifle, and no problem. They function fine, so the resizing is good, and the depriming is good, but the necks had the typical kind of damage from handling, so that even new brass, we've got to run an expanding ball through there to make sure our neck tensions are uniform. So I didn't have any problem with that neck tension. So what I did was I took my Hornady New Dimension die, 308 die, and extended the expanding ball out of the die a little bit, coated a little bit of lube, and then ran all the cases through there with my press. And now all the case necks are perfectly uniform, as you see. That's what we want. As for the trimming, that's where the problem on this batch of brass really is. And what I got was, out of the 205 cases that I received, these 122 are fine. They're all around 2.008 to 2.011, which is under the 2.015 max. 83 are miking at 2.015 or greater, so those definitely need trimming. Processed brass, what it boils down to is that we reloaders are very finicky about our rifle brass. So I'm going to be uniforming these primer pockets and deburring the flash holes and doing all that kind of thing anyway. And I'm going to be weighing these cases and separating them out. And so the finickiness, what it boils down to is this brass, for the extra $5 difference in price, is just basically saving me the trouble of having to resize the cases, because they're all resized nicely. So that's worth it to me to pay the extra $5 so I don't have to lube and resize the cases. Everything else I've got to be finicky about anyway. So I do appreciate the fact that I got that email and they offered to have me send this brass back to them for the final processing. But I'm not going to do that because, again, it's not worth it to me. But my advice to all of you out there is that if you're going to order processed brass from anywhere, not just USA Brass Company, but anywhere, make sure you ask to make sure that the brass you're getting has been mic'd and spec'd and all this kind of thing, so that you're not going to get brass that's not processed to the degree that you think it should be. YouTubers out there, good reloading to you. Bye for now.